Planeswalkers of all ages, live from the historic Paramount Theater and PAX West. Welcome to Magic the Gathering's first look at Kaladesh. And now, please welcome your host, Jimmy Wong.
What's up, everybody? Out there, it's a little wet, but you guys all look very dry. It's freezing backstage, so I'm dying back there. I'm very happy to be out in front of you guys right now. My name is Jimmy Wong. I'm very thrilled to be your host today. Magic the Gathering is entering an entirely new world at the end of this month. Do you guys know which world we're going to yet? I heard some wrong guesses. We're really excited to give you guys an exclusive first look at the amazing world of Kaladesh. We have a jam-packed program over the next 45 minutes. You guys are going to catch a glimpse inside the story of Kaladesh. You're going to meet some of the key characters, and you're going to get a quick tour through Magic's newest world. And of course, who's excited for preview cards? Yeah! Who's excited for new mechanics? Who's excited for PAX? Make sure you guys use the hashtag MTGKLD when you guys are tweeting, Tumblring, Redditing, whatever you're doing, Twitch chatting, memeing, all that. Before we get started today, the very first thing we have to do is watch the official trailer for Kaladesh. So who's stoked? All right, let's roll the trailer. I'm going to watch down here as well.
People of Kaladesh, whether you hail from distant fields or greenbelt towns or from our great city centers, this is your time. The Kaladesh Inventors Fair invites you, our best and brightest, to share your ingenuity with the world. As an official entrant, you may fuel your creativity with unrestricted ether access. Demonstrate that you can channel the ether into bold, new creations. Showcase your ideas, your inventions, your genius. In this time when anything is buildable, you can invent your tomorrow today!
Yeah! Sick. Anything is buildable. People of Kaladesh, of course, live by this saying, and as you guys just saw in the trailer, these brilliant inventors have filled their world with airships, trains, mechanical creatures, and yes, thopters built to make a better world for all of us, all of you guys too, so I'm thankful today. So to help me dive deeper into this world of Marvel, please give a very warm welcome to Jeremy Jarvis. How's it going, Jeremy? Good to see you again.
It's good to see you again. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. You're a world-building guru, Jeremy, and as we last saw, we were just, the last time I talked to you, we had people with tentacles sprouting out of their face.
Yeah.
And
kind
now
of
we're on Kaladesh.
blooming onions of meat.
Ooh, boy, I can't wait for lunch. Now we're on Kaladesh. It's a completely different world. What's that been like?
It's been great. So when we were building Kaladesh full on, we knew we were going to be in 2 world a year model. We knew we were going to have spent 6 months returning to Innistrad. We love Gothic horror, but we wanted to follow it with something tonally and visually different. We wanted it bright, we wanted it colorful, we wanted it optimistic. We felt like it was a good time for an artifact block, and what Magic has not done before is our take on steampunk. And so Kaladesh is our answer to what Magic's take on steampunk might be, which is etherpunk. That's our twist.
Etherpunk. Okay, so just to get it right, it's written A-E-T-H-E-R, but it's pronounced ether.
It is ether. We pulled the A and the E apart. We got rid of the ligature. It's like a middle school dance. They're not gonna
Make room for syllables.
It's platonic. They're not gonna. So it is ether.
So what is it about ether that makes it so special?
Sure. So Kaladesh has a fairly unique relationship with ether, other than any other plane in the multiverse. Ether is kind of the energy, the mayonnaise, and the negative space between planes. For Kaladesh, there's actually an ether sphere. As you go up into the sky, ribbons and swirls of ether peek through and have naturally encouraged the way the world looks. It lends itself to these wonderful swoops and meanders and swirls, and that's just the way the world looks because of the presence of ether.
Right, and it seems like it's sort of like a form of magical electricity, mayonnaise, as you put it, making
Yeah,
me
magical,
very hungry for lunch
electric
now.
mayonnaise.
And everyone has access to it, so that has to affect how the people live on the plane.
Yeah, so just like the ether encourages the way the world looks encourages the people's visual sensibilities. They have this wonderful, very ornate, very decorative aesthetic sensibility that comes in response to the world. And it turns out that what ether is really good for is powering inventions. And so that's what the people do. They harvest it and they refine it and use it to invent and to create.
And looks like from what we saw in the trailer, the people aren't just humans, right?
No. We have, of course, humans in all 5 colors like we normally do. We also have elves in green, again, coming out of Innistrad. It was time to bring them back.
Yeah.
VEDALKEN seemed like a good fit here. So in blue, we have VEDALKEN. When we first met VEDALKEN on Mirrodin, they were kind of researchers, and they have this insatiable curiosity, and so that seemed like thematically a very good inclusion for Kaladesh. Then we have, this is pretty big, we have a new race that is the AETHERBORN, created specifically for Kaladesh. They are actually physical manifestations of the use of ether. We didn't want more zombies. We love zombies in Innistrad, ready for something different, so we created a new race to be our black humanoid race on Kaladesh.
Very cool.
And this is the big one. Dwarves are back.
Yes! That's right, official confirmation that dwarves are in white. This is awesome.
We have dwarves in white. Because of community, because of teamwork, because of their ethics, that's why they're in white, not because they live in mountains. So really exciting new take for us.
Now notice we have yet to include one color, red, my favorite.
That's weird, Jimmy.
I'm pointing at a belt. Come on, guys.
Yep. Yeah, moving on. So in red, because inventions, we have gremlins. We're not doing, it's not goblins, not devils. We have gremlins, literally the gremlins in the machines. And what they do is they are attracted to the ether that powers the machines. They get into them, cause a little bit of havoc, and break the machines down, which is in the grand scheme okay, because once your machine's broken, it's time to invent another one.
They're adorable. I saw a little plushie of them outside as well.
They are both gross and cute, which is one of our primary visual targets for Magic.
All right, I got my Halloween costume for this year. Don't feed these guys after midnight. So now that we know more about the sort of general inhabitants of Kaladesh, let's focus on the special individuals, because of course, amidst all of these inventors on the plane, there have to be some whose genius stand out above the rest, right?
Yeah, sure. So I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with Saheeli Rai from the marquee right outside of here, from the key art. It is Saheeli Rai.
Rai.
It is Rai.
Right.
Yes.
Rai.
Yes. You can remember Rai because it's pronounced exactly like the drink.
For those under 18, just like the bread. I mean, 21. 21.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. I was in Canada recently, so everything's twisted around.
Hey, now's a good time for you to point at your belt again.
Hey! Segue.
Yes. Bringing it back. Yeah, so Saheeli, we really wanted to kind of commemorate and celebrate Kaladesh by creating a character for our pantheon of planeswalker characters that is the living embodiment of the optimism and the inventiveness and the beauty and the hue of Kaladesh. And so that is Saheeli's origin. Now, what her power suite is to transmute materials. So not only is she a great inventor, she is an inventor that can constantly have at hand whatever material she needs at the time.
That's very exciting, and I think I know what that means. It's time for our very first preview card of PAX. Who's ready? All right.
I'm not sure they want that.
Do you guys want it, or do you really want it?
Okay.
Saheeli Rai, a brand new Planeswalker. Her +1 is a little bit of card advantage and damage, direct damage, and her -2, the creation here, creating a token that's a copy of a target artifact or creature you control, and then it gets exiled at the beginning of the next end step. And her ultimate, well, it speaks for itself, I think. Jeremy, can we spend a few minutes just brainstorming some infinite combos?
So we can't, because I like the way she looks. That is my contribution. Like, we can brainstorm some combos. They'll be bad. We'll crowdsource that. Someone help Jimmy with some combos, and I'm going to eat some crayons.
They need to be bad, though. I'm looking for the jankiest of jank for her -7. Sorry, I got a little excited there. Anyway, thank you so much for the insights into Kaladesh. Everyone, let's give a big round of applause to Jeremy Jarvis.
Thank you, guys.
So, if you all want to learn more about Kaladesh, don't worry, this entire weekend is meant for you guys, both in the online sphere and here at PAX. Just check out the Kaladesh World Building panel. It's going to be with Jeremy and fellow Magic Creative team members Doug Byer, Kimberly Kreines, and Ari Levitch, and that's going to be coming up right after this show. So now that we have a better sense of the world of Kaladesh, let's dive a little deeper and talk about the story of Kaladesh. And to help me do that, please welcome narrative masterminds James Wyatt and Mel Lee. Hey friends, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good to see you again. So I'm already in love with Saheeli. Everything about the art, the card, and everything we've seen up till now. I'm very curious, though, what is she up to in Magic Story? So can you enlighten us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Saheeli is one of the elite competitors in the quicksmithing competition. Now, this is an event where some of Kaladesh's most gifted inventors get together to match up their creations against each other and against the clock. And it's really one of the biggest events at the Inventors Fair. But, you know, the Inventors Fair has so much going on. So some of the things we're going to see people racing around this racetrack called the Oval Chase. We'll get to see these inventive sculptures and entire buildings with these cool novel designs. We'll get to see some of Kaladesh's top ether scientists showing off their cutting edge techniques. And, you know, of course, being Kaladesh, we're going to see some really impressive constructs and automata.
Sweet.
Yeah,
like this guy?
Yeah, like that guy.
Cool.
So we're going to see these constructs that are made to look and act like, you know, real animals, machines that are taller than the tallest buildings to those tiny enough to fit in your pocket. So, you know, TLDR, Jimmy, it's pretty much anything and everything that you could imagine.
Ooh.
You know, if Saheeli is the kind of distillation of everything that is Kaladesh into one person, like Jeremy said, I think of the Inventors Fair as distilling that same spirit of invention and innovation down into one huge month-long event that pretty well takes over the city of Girapur for a month. Mm-hmm. It's like Girapur has been the center of invention and innovation on Kaladesh for the last 60 years, this period called the Great Ether Boom. This is where I go into professor mode. So over the last 60 years, since the development of a new process to refine ether into a safe and reliable source of clean energy, that has fueled all this invention that has mostly been concentrated in Girapur. So it's fitting that Girapur hosts this celebration of all that invention. How many times can I say invention in one answer? But it's a big deal. It's the kind of story event that we really like to shine spotlights on. So I like to think of this as a distillation of the entire Kaladesh set down into one card, like the Inventors Fair.
Well, let's see it. The Inventors Fair! A legendary land is only fitting. You gain a little life for having some artifacts, and you can sack it, find some artifacts, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So it's a tutor As an EDH player, I am already excited. I'm a big fan of any kind, thank you, whoever was out there. I'm a big fan of any kind of lands that are flexible, that can do a lot of things. It's great. I love the thematicness of this. It rewards you for being at the fair, sort of bringing your own artifacts. And if you have enough, you get to create one too. And it seems like the Inventors Fair is huge, like PAX huge, maybe even bigger. Who's in charge of making sure this thing runs smoothly?
Yeah, so a project this big is big enough for government work, and on Kaladesh that means consulate work. So the consulate is really this driving force behind harnessing the power of Ether to make the city better, faster, more efficient. At the cost of a few personal liberties, a lot of binding rules and regulations, but really, Jimmy, it's for the best of its citizens.
It's worth it?
It's worth it.
Worth. So it seems as though this is sort of a bit of a different regime than what we saw in Origins, which was a sort of authoritarian regime. So what has changed in between then and now?
Well, I think it's important to remember that we were introduced to Kaladesh through Chandra's eyes, right? And Chandra is the kind of person whose emotion tends to tinge what she experiences. And her experience is really kind of unique, right? She was the children of ether smugglers who kind of by definition have a problem with the way that the consulate rations and distributes ether. And also, when her pyromantic abilities manifested, let's be frank, she posed a significant threat to person and property. So the consulate was really just doing its job, right, in protecting society from this very real danger. Chandra sees the world through flame-tinted goggles, but I think the truth is not nearly so black and white.
Right. And now that we're back on Chandra's home world, she is a part of the Gatewatch. It just feels fitting that the Gatewatch is involved, right? And no rest for the weary. They just took down 3 Eldrazi Titans, but they're already off to their next adventure.
No big deal, yeah.
Yeah, MVP. We're good.
Yes, I can in fact confirm that the Gatewatch is involved here. We're moving into our second year of telling a single continuous character-driven story focused on these 5 planeswalkers. We actually started in Origins telling their origin stories, the things that ignited their sparks, that make them who they are, that make them tick, really, to this day. And then on Zendikar and on Innistrad, we brought them together. They all swore their oaths to protect the multiverse from interplanar threats like the Eldrazi. And then they won. And the Eldrazi are gone.
Go team.
And so there actually is a moment of rest for the weary. They get a little bit of downtime, a little bit of time to reflect, to think about what's next, to evaluate the other threats that might be looming on the horizon and figure out what's going to rise to the level of their attention. And also really to get to know each other when they're not in the heat of battle, life or death situations determining the fate of an entire plane. The story team sometimes likes to joke that the way you get to know someone on a really deep personal level is by moving furniture together, which I guess is a life or death situation if there's lots of stairs involved. My wife and I have moved a lot of furniture over the last 23 years. That's not a euphemism. So,
I'm gonna point at my belt again.
So I like to imagine the Gatewatch coming back from Innistrad and moving into their secret clubhouse, Jace's sanctum on Ravnica, and moving furniture to figure out how they can accommodate everybody, and having some explosive, really deep bonding moments with each other. Now, it's not moving furniture, but we did see in Magic Story earlier this week an opportunity to explore as the Gatewatch does things together like training,
Right.
or eating breakfast. Those aren't stories that we get a lot of opportunity to tell, certainly not when there's Eldrazi roaming the world. So I'm really excited about the chance to take these 5 powerful, volatile personalities and throw them into slightly less life or death situations, at least initially,
Right.
and watch how the bonds and the conflicts among them develop.
I mean, I don't know about you, but if I don't get breakfast, that is a life or death situation. So.
Yes.
And it seems that things just don't stay quiet. You've got Tamio just telling everyone like where Jace's cool secret sanctum is, and they can just come and ask for help.
Yeah, so in the midst of all this quality time, the Gatewatch is interrupted by Dovin Baan. Now, Dovin is this Vedalken planeswalker who belongs to the consulate on Kaladesh. And, he's come here with a very delicate issue. So he's been tipped off that there's going to be some kind of threat to the Inventors Fair. And he's not sure what it is or when it's going to happen, but he needs some help in crushing that. But the problem is that the Gatewatch, they're more interested in interplanar threats, like things that affect the entire multiverse and, not some specific government. And they're really not that excited about being this guy's security detail. So
It'd be a really good security detail, though.
Bringing in the beef.
Yeah, right.
So Jason and Gideon are like, thanks, no thanks, man.
Got paperwork, says Jace.
Yeah, no more paperwork, please.
Yeah.
So at this point, though, Chandra comes in, and she sees Dovin, and she knows exactly who he is and where he's from.
Right.
And so immediately, she gets all these painful memories flooding back to her, and she decides that she's finally ready to go back and face them. She's ready to go back home to Kaladesh.
Oh, interesting. Now, it's cool because what we saw in Origins, Chandra did not leave Kaladesh on exactly good terms. She literally planeswalked out of there. She was so upset at it. And given her issues with authority and her temperament, it seems like things are gonna get a little bit heated.
Knowing Chandra, that's, a possibility. Let's take a look at one example.
Oh. Furious Reprisal. 3 in a red, source 3 deals 2 damage to each of 2 target creatures and/or players. So 4 mana, 4 damage. Everything adds up. Sounds like a limited powerhouse. I'm all in.
Yeah, so, being a story person, I'm staring at this flavor text. Now that's the Chandra I've been waiting to see.
Ooh,
so,
I like that.
As you'll notice, our favorite necromancer, Liliana Vess, has come along with Chandra to Kaladesh. Now, Liliana really hasn't been on the team for very long, but for the time she's been here, she's already seen these glimpses of this darker past that Chandra has. So she's here to really poke at some of those painful memories and really push Chandra down this darker path of revenge against those who have wronged her.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's interesting because we didn't really know what Liliana was up to when she joined the Gatewatch all the way back on Innistrad.
Yeah.
As James noted, who knows what's happening with her hands behind her back as she takes her oath. But it looks like she's using sort of this opportunity to push some buttons and whisper some things. Oh my. Oh, I just got a little hotter on stage. So let's talk about Chandra's past a little bit here.
Yeah, so James talked a little bit about her past, but Chandra has not had it easy. So as James was saying, she grew up as the child of these 2 really prominent dissidents, and she grew up really not liking the consulate, and things got so much worse when her pyromancy manifested. So she and her entire family were hunted down by consulate soldiers. And Chandra herself was staring at the blade of an executioner's axe when suddenly her spark ignited and she was thrown to safety. So, here's Chandra finally back at home, and she's got all these thoughts going around in her head. She has all these really fond memories about home and growing up, and about the family that she's lost. But it's also a city that's ruled by those who always hated and feared her. In a really weird way, it's kind of like coming back to your hometown for a high school reunion, a really weird, messed up high school reunion. She's not really sure what she has here, if anything.
Right.
And she came here kind of expecting the worst. And she comes back and she looks around and she's like, it's actually really beautiful here and full of life, and she just doesn't know what to do.
Right, it's the home she remembers. It's the high school she remembers, except they killed her parents. That's a small aside. But it's so bright and vibrant and optimistic. This dude's there.
It's definitely not a high school you want to go to. Just stress me out in the sun.
It's a new TV series, Planeswalkers in High School. So is this an opportunity, you think, for Chandra to maybe see her home in a new way?
Maybe. I mean, remember that Dovin came and sought out the Gatewatch because he suspected trouble lurking underneath the bright, shiny, happy surface of Kaladesh. And I have to say, I think it's a pretty safe bet that if there's trouble lurking underneath the surface, then Chandra and Liliana are there, they're gonna unearth it. Because trouble is basically Chandra's middle name. And if there's one thing that Liliana is good at, it's unearthing things. Thanks, I'll be here all week.
We're literally here all weekend. We got plenty more zingers, guys, don't you worry. Well, I can't wait to see how things play out. Thank you so much. Everyone's give a big round of applause to James and Mel. All right. So, Now we've gotten a glimpse at the world and a look into the story of Kaladesh. So you guys know what that means. It's time to talk about how this is all going to manifest itself inside the game. So let's talk from Magic R&D to Mark Rosewater.
Jimmy, I have to say, I handed over the set 16 months ago.
Oh, man.
16 months, and I haven't been able to talk about it.
I wasn't even born 16 months ago.
I'm so excited to finally get to talk about this. So let's talk mechanics.
Let's dive into it. Okay, you're the head designer for Magic, one of the lead designers for Kaladesh 16 months ago. You were tasked with designing a set that's all about invention. So how did you go about tackling that challenge?
Okay, so one of the neat things about doing a world is you want to figure out what the world is like so that the gameplay can match the world. Okay, so Kaladesh was bright, was optimistic, was a world of technology, a world of invention. So we really liked the idea of, what if you, the game player, felt like an inventor?
Ooh.
That was our driving force, that we want you, I mean, Magic, it already has a lot of ability to make your own deck and combine things, but we wanted to turn that up. You know, make it a set all about showing what you can do, being an inventor.
Ooh, turn it to 11.
Yes.
All the way up. So that's exciting. So what do we have in store? What are you gonna tell us about today?
Okay, well first, so Jeremy talked about the ether.
Right.
That this world has this energy that runs the world. And it turns out, 14 years ago, I made a mechanic for original Mirrodin that people know as Mechanic E.
E.
And what happened was,
What is it?
I was so enthusiastic, I made so many mechanics, they didn't all fit, and so we had to take it out of the set. Not good. It was an awesome mechanic. It took a lot of space and it didn't fit, so we took it out. And I've been waiting for a spot to use it. So I've been looking for it. We've tried it in a couple different spots. And finally, it's a world all about energy. I'm like, we found it. This is the place for it. So
we did it.
The very first meeting I had with my team, I said, let's see if we can make this work. And we did. So let's show you. I want to show you this, guys. This is an energy symbol. So it's a brand new resource. Magic doesn't do this all that often. It's a brand new resource, and this represents an energy symbol. But to explain the mechanic, could I show you a card? That'd be okay?
Yeah? Okay. I think
why don't
you
I show you a
approval.
card?
Let's see it.
Okay. This is ETHERBORN Marvel. It's a legendary artifact. You pay 4 generic mana for it. Whenever a permanent you control is put into a graveyard, you get an energy counter. What that means is you get a counter. Goes to you personally. It does not go away until you spend it. It's not like mana that clears. You have it until you spend it, it's yours. Then, for this card, you can tap it. You can pay 6 energy to look at the top 6 cards of your library and cast one of them for free. Whew. Now, here's the cool thing of energy. Most energy cards will get you energy, and they will let you spend energy, but you don't need, for example, the energy you get on AETHERBORN Marvel, you don't need to spend an AETHERBORN Marvel. So the idea is, as you accumulate energy, you want to figure out where to put it. And one of the neat things about this set, I talked about, I want you to feel like an inventor.
Right.
So one of the things that was really important is something we call variance of play. So if you have a deck, and you play it, and then you play like 20 times with it, how different does the deck play? You know, how often when you play it is there variance? Now, normal Magic has, so much variance because the deck's shuffled and stuff. But if this is the normal Magic, this is Kaladesh.
Upgrade.
That we want a lot more decisions, a lot more choices. That when you play a deck, the second, third, fourth time you play it, it can play really differently. And Energy does a really good example of showing this. Let's say I have card A, card B, and card C. They all get me energy. Well, maybe one game I pour it all into card A. Card A is my route to victory. But in the next game, maybe it's card B, or a combination of card B and card C. Maybe it's card D, and that each time
I didn't know there was a card D.
There's a card D.
Oh my goodness.
And the idea is you get to choose how and where to use it. And that this set, it has a lot of combo potential. It's a lot of neat, not only can you build interesting things, but when you play, there's constant decisions to make that will vary from game to game, even with the exact same deck.
Wow, that's amazing. Adding a completely new resource. I mean, that had been such a challenge during development. Does it feed into any other mechanics, any sort of other ideas in the set that help you feel like an inventor?
Well, obviously, the idea of the variation of play was in all the mechanics. So we're going to talk about our second mechanic called fabricate. So
Mechanic F.
Would you guys like to see a fabricate card?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Let's show a fabricate card. Okay, so this is Propeller Pioneer. Costs 4 mana, 3 and a white. It's a 2/1 flyer, and it has a fabricate mechanic. So the fabricate mechanic always has a number, and what that means is you have a choice. Whenever the creature comes in play, you can choose either that many +1/+1 counters, or that many 1/1 artifact creatures called servos.
Oh.
And the idea is we wanted to represent technology, not just in artifacts, but throughout. Everybody in this world uses technology. There's devices, there's gadgets. And how do we show that? So one way was +1/+1 counters.
Right.
That the idea that how do we show that creatures get better by using the technology? Ooh, they get +1/+1 counters.
So to enhance the gear on them.
Exactly. And you'll see if you look at all the art of all the creatures, everybody's decked out. This is a world of technology. Also, we wanted to. Hey, if you're going to a world of invention, you're creating things. You're creating living things. So like, they have these little servo tokens that are really cute that you're making. There they are, little servos.
Aww.
Oh, because people will ask, we did experiment with Fabricate making Thopters. You always chose Thopters. So there are Thopters in the set, but this is servos. Servos worked out better.
Wait, they're so cute. Do they have to die?
So one of the things you'll see in the set is we have themes of +1/+1 counter matters, power matters. So maybe you want to choose +1/+1 counters. Oh, but we also have artifact mattering, creatures mattering.
Right.
So sometimes you want to do tokens. So you might play this card, or sorry, the card we just showed. You might play that card turn 3.
Right.
But then and choose one thing, and then like 3 turns later, you'll play it again and choose a different thing.
Right.
That the variance of play is really big. That you always have to evaluate what you're doing because you're an inventor on the fly. You're making decisions, and the gameplay is very fluid.
And specifically decisions based on what your opponent has, what you're facing down, what you're going to need as a
Exactly,
player.
exactly, yes.
So these guys are cute, guys and girls. I guess they're genderless. I have no idea.
I think they are genderless, yes.
They're adorable either way. But as we saw in the trailer, there were airships and trains. So I'm assuming you guys have something bigger up your sleeve as well.
Yeah, well, one of the neat things about this set, normally when I design a set, it's a little bit in the dark, that it's only halfway through design that they start building the world visually. But we had a sneak peek. We had made Origins, and so we had a chance to sort of see Kaladesh. And you saw stuff like this on Kaladesh.
Yeah.
The giant sky ship. So one of the things is, I talk with the community a lot, and people tell me what they want. So one of the things I heard a lot was vehicles. People for years have been saying they want vehicles.
Oh.
But vehicles are tricky. How do you make vehicles work? And so we kept pushing it off because we didn't quite know how to make it work. But we're coming to Kaladesh, and this is on Kaladesh.
So what you're saying is you figured out how to make vehicles work?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes, we did. We figured vehicles
So can
out.
we see one?
So let's see it. You guys want to see a vehicle?
Yeah!
Okay,
Oval
this one's a
Chase
little more complicated, so I'll
Dragster.
walk you through it. Okay, Oval Chase Dragster, costs 4. It's an artifact. Now, vehicles are not naturally creatures, because if I have a car, it can't move by itself, so it's normally just an artifact.
Not yet.
Not yet. But if you crew it, so what that means is if you tap any number of creatures whose power is equal to or greater than the crew number, you crew it, you drive it, you turn it on.
Right.
And then until end of turn, it becomes a creature. So the idea is, this is crew 1. There's higher crew numbers. This one's crew 1. If you tap any creature that has at least 1 power, you turn this into a 6/1 trampling haste creature.
Wow.
Now, let me point out the haste. This is important. Normally, when you play a vehicle, it's summoning sick. If you animate it the term you play it, you can't attack. Now, this has haste, so this can attack, but normally you can't. But if you have summoning sick creatures, they can crew vehicles. So the idea is, the guy shows up, he's a little disoriented, and you throw him the keys and go drive my car, he can. And so it's a good way to make use of summoning sick creatures because they can drive vehicles.
Being a 6/1 trample haste that says it'll either crash or win the race, probably both, very fitting. I'm already having fantasies of drafting a deck where I get to stick a gremlin and a dwarf and make them best friends forever, send them down the oval chase. I mean, I love all three of these mechanics. They really do make you feel like an inventor.
Yeah, so one last thing about vehicles. So we did, if you want to make a vehicle deck, we have cards for you. You'll see them later this weekend. You can build an all-vehicle deck. We're letting you do that.
Sweet.
But we build vehicles, so there's a lot of different kind of vehicles that every deck you make, we want to make sure that every deck can play a vehicle. So there's a wide variety of different kind of vehicles that you guys will see.
You get to choose your own car?
Yes.
Choose your own vehicle?
Choose your own vehicle.
That's so exciting. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. So that's our three mechanics, but I want to stress one more thing. The idea of feeling like an inventor is not just the mechanics. We wanted to make sure that cards, we want to make sure there's a lot of build around cards, there are a lot of interesting decisions that happen mid-game where you have to make cool decisions that vary from game to game. That the idea of feeling like an inventor is throughout the entire set. You'll feel it in Limited, you'll feel it in Constructed. It is just oozing through the whole set, and it's a very different feel. I mean, it's hard to explain this to you guys play it, but the set feels unlike anything else. It's a really unique set, and it plays really differently. And so one of the things I'm excited for you guys to do is actually play with it, because it's an awesome set. It's a really, really good set.
Awesome.
And,
well, Mark, I can't wait to personally see how these mechanics are going to play out and work together. So everyone, let's give a big round of applause to Mark Rosewater. Thank you, Mark. Now, if you want to hear some more great design stories about how these mechanics are created, plus catch a few more preview cards, who doesn't, just make sure to check out the Mechanics of Kaladesh panel, where Mark Rosewater is going to be joined by designer Sean Main, developers Ian Duke and Ben Hayes, and graphic designer Liz Leal. That's going to be 2 hours from now after the world building panel, which is coming up right after this. If you're watching online, you can just sit there. You sit there and it just happens. So don't log off. You can also check out additional vehicle images by going to Kaladesh.com, right there. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this first look into the world, story, and mechanics of Kaladesh. For everyone attending PAX or watching from home, we have a jam-packed schedule of events this entire weekend for you to attend. So let's take a quick peek. All right, Friday, we have a world building panel and mechanics right after this. You can see at 12 and 1. And also the second day of the Magic World Championship, 24 of Magic's best players all here playing the best Magic of their lives. It's really fun to watch, so guys, make sure you check that out as well. On Saturday, it's the first day of the Street Fair. You guys may have seen it outside for those of you here at PAX. It's right outside the Paramount. We're going to have exhibitors, artists. You can blow glass. You can build your own thopters. It's an unmissable experience. And from what I hear, I talked to Mother Nature, it's going to stop raining over the weekend. So it's going to be a fun time. Make sure you guys go check that out if you're at PAX. And then we also have the third day of the World Championship with Modern Constructed. There's going to be a bunch of awesome panels. PAX invents the card. It's usually called PAX makes the card or creates the card, but now it's inventing. So you guys make sure you check that out. And that's all going to lead into an improv show from Jet City Improv, featuring some of my friends, and they're all super talented, so I'm very excited for that. On Sunday, we're going to have the top 4 of the World Magic Championship. Make sure you guys check that out. It is going to be a blast, and there's $250,000 on the line for these pros. So it is a big event. It's a huge deal. It's all taking place on this stage. I'll probably be watching from the rafters somewhere. On Monday, the last day of PAX, there's going to be even more great panels building up to the celebrity-filled Inventors Spell-Slinging Showdown. It's all going to happen here at the Paramount. This is going to be really exciting. I don't want to spoil what's going to happen, but if you're still here on Monday, please come check it out. If you're still by your computer on Monday, wherever you are out there, check it out. And there's going to be a big closing program at 5 on Monday that I'll also be hosting, and you don't want to miss out on that. You're probably going to see more cards. Maybe, just maybe. So if you're tuning in online, no matter where you are in the world, we've got you covered. We've also invited a special group of ambassadors from all around the globe to help bring the Kaladesh experience from here to all of you watching back home. And this group of podcasters, bloggers, YouTubers, and fans are going to be keeping you all up to date on the action. Each of them are going to have their own preview cards to reveal, so if you need to find out where to follow them, don't worry, you'll need to take pictures of this. All you have to do is go to Kaladesh.com. You'll find out all of their social media links. You can check out all of their stuff and their preview cards. At that same address, you can find the complete schedule that we just walked through here. And before I sign off, I really want to watch that trailer one more time, so let's roll it.
People of Kaladesh, whether you hail from distant fields or greenbelt towns, or from our great city centers, this is your time. The Kaladesh Inventors Fair invites you, our best and brightest, to share your ingenuity with the world. As an official entrant, you may fuel your creativity with unrestricted ether access. Demonstrate that you can channel the ether into bold new creations. Showcase your ideas, your inventions, your genius. In this time when anything is buildable, you can invent your tomorrow today!
All right! Sahili, you're here! How's it going? Can we take selfies later? Do you know what a selfie is? Okay, we'll figure it out. You guys can find our awesome Sahili Rai and Chandra here at the Paramount and around the convention all weekend long. All right, Magic fans, make sure you guys use the hashtag MTGKLD when you're talking about this awesome new set on social media. You guys excited? All right, have an awesome PAX, everybody. We'll see you around. Take care. You look great.